right, welcome to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. We give you an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. And yes, being the ninth day in the month of July of 2025, it is noteworthy and with every potency the need to look into matters that concern Nigeria's economic reforms and where are we going, especially when not only economists from this side of the divide are talking about how we are not standing strong economically, but the financial institutions outside the shores of Nigeria, I'm talking about the likes of IMF and World Bank, that is the International Monetary Fund, as well as the World Bank. But this time, particularly the IMF, have come to say to the current administration, telling the current administration that, look, the economic reforms that for which or upon which you've come to us for loans, you've come to us for aids and all of that, it's not getting to the masses, right? So the topic of discussion revolves around the International Monetary Fund's IMF assertion that Nigeria's economic reforms have not been benefiting the majority of its population. Can you beat that? Particularly, though, the poor and food insecure. So, despite the government's efforts to stabilize the economy, poverty and inflation remains high, with poverty rates standing at 42% of the 2023. Now, recall that in 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has launched the sweeping economic reform program, and that program was aimed at correcting the country's public finances. And the reforms also included liberalizing the foreign exchange market, eliminating fuel subsidies, and halting central bank deficit financing. Now, while the IMF described these reforms as necessary, keep in mind now, they are the ones who defined it and described it as a necessary step. They have also come at a cost for many ordinary Nigerians who are experiencing the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. So the IMF's mission chief to Nigeria, Excel, and resident representative Christian Ebeke, they both noted that the policy shifts have improved macroeconomic indicators, including rising foreign reserves and successful re-entry into the international capital markets. However, though, the benefits of these reforms have yet to reach the most vulnerable Nigerians. And if you ask me, if these reforms are yet to reach the most vulnerable of the Nigerian society, then what is the aim and the purpose of this reform? To me, if you ask me, that is a failure of reform. That is a misplacement of reform. That is even no reform at all. But some would argue, and like the IMF is saying, that the macroeconomy has seen a growth in terms of foreign reserves. We are growing. But then again, how is it impacting the lives of Nigerians? Now, if we are going to look into this, it will only be better for us to have a second voice get in view of this topical issue in discourse this morning. So we will be joined by our guest, right? And he is going to lead us through in this process. Now, I'm talking about Comrade Babatunde Oluwajo, right? Babatunde Oluwajo will be joining us in a short bit as we go conversational in this regard, right? But then keep in mind the fact that there are certain angles to this. One of such concern will be the place of economic concerns, right? The reforms benefiting the masses and all of that, high poverty rate and all. These are the angles they'll be looking. I mean, 42% as of 2023. High poverty rate, and then inflation and weak power infrastructure for vulnerable oil revenues. All of these are the angles that we'll be looking at. And then the place of the IMF and the World Bank exactly in dictating for the Nigeria economy or Nigeria financial system as in what we should do, how we should go, things what we must do. Can you also beat the idea that when they are giving you this loan, they get to ask you and dictate what you use this loan for, how you use the loan for, how you use the money for? These are the criteria that they look at before even issuing a loan. But then some have said that we've stayed in the place of slavery for way too long. It's time for us to uplift ourselves and remove ourselves from any sort of deprivation. But can we really do that when there are also certain circumstances or certain considerations that one must put into question? One must put into bear some of these, thought lines. But yeah, we have our guest already, Comrade Babatunde Oluwajo. Welcome to the discourse this morning. Okay, are you there? All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Awesome. Okay, so we are looking at the issue that concerns the IMF and the IMF also talking about where we are, saying that our economic reforms since 2023 has not indeed yielded the expected result, in a sense that the citizenry, the vulnerable of the society, the Nigerian masses that really need these reforms are not being reformed, so to speak. What would be your thoughts in this, especially when we know that the IMF has also been known to be the mastermind of some of the decisions that our policymakers in our dear country, Nigeria, have taken into consideration and are running with at the moment?
Well, I think the starting point is to point out that it's funny the IMF is saying what it's saying, because the number one problem is actually the IMF and the World Bank. IMF and World Bank have never been known to be forces for good. Let us take 1960 as a benchmark. Tell me any country in the world who has moved from being a third world to even second world on the basis of IMF prescription. Let's take Africa as an example and use 1960 and use Nigeria as a case study. Take every indices of life, education, access to education, health, life expectancy, just name it, social security net. Tell me, use that as a business and use 2025 and tell me where we are. We have actually regressed. The same thing if you go to most African countries that have, embraced IMF World Bank prescription, they have regressed. If you look at the Asian Tigers and Asian Cubs, who in the 80s and 90s did the opposite of what IMF World Bank was telling Africa to do under structural adjustment program. During the under structural adjustment program, IMF World Bank told the African countries that government has no business in business, that they should destroy the limited social security systems we had, pensions, and fair education, access to health, just name it, housing, and all the rest. At that point, in the 80s and 90s, the Asian countries, the Southeast Asian countries were doing the opposite. And today, they're in the second world. As of 1960, Korea today that we import vehicles from was below Nigeria in terms of every indices of life. But today, Korea is far ahead of us. What did they do? They rejected IMF World Bank prescription. They did the opposite of what IMF World Bank was telling Africa to do. And today we know where Korea is. We know Malaysia. We know Indonesia. I don't want to talk of China, who today is the second world power, competing with the US, and in many cases has even overtaken US. So the number one problem of Africa and Nigeria is actually the same World Bank IMF that is telling us that because their reforms are not for people, their reforms are anti-people. How can you tell the government to remove subsidies? When in their own country, the same boys, the same IMF World Bank boys who come here are product of subsidies in their country. They went to public schools. Many of them grew up in public and council flats. They had access to free public health. But when they come to Africa, they tell our government to do the opposite. And you now say reforms are not impacting the people. Okay, those are anti-people reforms. So the first step to take to us to affect our people is to first reject IMF World Bank policies. But they are not, because they are not in the best interest of our people. They are in the best interest of what is it called? I mean, the so-called, finance capital. That is exactly what their policy is about. It's not about us. So it's not surprising they themselves have come to realize that meanwhile, this is not the first time they will be admitting it. As it was the end of the 90s, the IMF World Bank admitted that the structural adjustment program has failed. But instead of having a rethink, what they did is to now rejig it, give it different names, and the same elements of structural adjustment program is what they're introducing to us piecemeal. We need to have a rethink, because you know what? Neoliberalism that IMF World Bank is pushing is an ideology. And it's an ideology of take from those who don't have and give to those who have. It's an ideology of take the resources of Africa, including that of Nigeria, and use it to enrich the West. And after you do that, our people impoverish. They are hungry, because they are hungry, people are angry. And then people now embrace extremist ideologies, and they start to become bandits and whatever. And then our people cannot come over there. Those who have money to get there, either by hook or crook, what do they do? Majority of them, what do they do? So the problem of Nigeria and Africa and the developing world is IMF World Bank. And today I put it to their so-called apologists and their so-called half-baked economists. If you point to me, one country, one third world country, let's use 1960 as a baseline, that as on the basis of IMF World Bank policies, move from being third world to just the second world. Just one, I need one.
So this is saying that the same financial institution that is, so to speak, speaking truth to the Nigerian financial system is the same problem of the Nigerian financial system. But just before we get, into whether or not we can stand away from acting by the playbook of the IMF and the World Bank, let me bring it to you the fact that in July of 2025, the IMF had projected Nigeria's economy to grow by 3.4%, driven by the new domestic refinery, high oil production, and even a strong service sector, right? And in July 2nd, the IMF had warned that downside risks to Nigeria's economy recovery include global markets volatility, potential declines in oil prices, rising, financing costs, and lingering security challenges. And then sometime in October of 2024, the IMF projected Nigeria's GDP growth rate to be 3.2%, which was later upgraded to 3.4% in July of 2025. Now, if you put all of these together, doesn't it bother you the fact that even when we have economists and financial, heads in this country, as well as knowing fully well that we have a Minister of Finance, advisors to Mr. President on several sectors and all of that, we still are dancing to the tune of an IMF, even when we see the pathway that should take us out of the woods. Why are we still bent on following the IMF instructions when it comes to managing our finances and our economy?
Don't go too far. Many of the so-called economists are product of IMF World Bank. Look at under Obasanjo, many of them in the past, in the 80s and the 90s, even when they bring in advisors, they try to make them convert advisors. They don't put them in our face, so they know the society will vote against them. But what happened after 1999? They started appointing without people. You know their names. I don't want to mention their name here. Who came from IMF, World Bank, became ministers, and you expect them to do what? Implement policies that are pro Nigeria. That's not possible now. They will implement through their master's policies, and that is what has been happening. And you ask yourself, what is so called that has emerged from there? Are they not in one way or the other be holding to these same institutions? Some of them have even clearly been called their agents, including some of them who are currently in power. It is there, the information is in the public domain. When the FBI says someone who's currently leading us, is their agent, and therefore they cannot release certain information about him, even to the American courts. And you expect such people to now be patriotic, implement policies that is in best interest of our own country? That is not possible now. You can't put something on top of nothing and expect it to stand. You are talking about people who in the instance are Nigerians because at best you can call them pirates. And what does the thief come to do? To steal, to destroy. They are pirates. They are Nigerians by carrying our passports, or maybe because they are black. But they are not Nigerians because, they believe in us, or because they believe in the country. Definitely not. So you can't expect people who are agents of imperialism to implement policies that is for Nigeria. So please, don't let us deceive ourselves. Let us take them. Some of the so-called people they celebrate, I just don't want to mention them on there. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
For vast majority things, pick them one by one, the so-called ministers. Where did they come from? The one is not from IMF, it's from World Bank. And after they finish, they have been compensated. Either some go to World Trade Organization, some go to African Development or African Bank, some go to different funny, what is it called? Funny organizations. In fact, at a point, there was a case that Nigeria had with one of the health organizations, global health organizations. Not one of them. That's why the fact that part of the fund was spent, since the Nigerian government was reformed. And what happened? They were all compensated. So this at least we know. So after someone talks, it's not just about those who are currently in power. From 1999, you just do a graph. You see all of them. Where are they? Who are they? Where were they coming from? After they left power, what happened to them? What did they do in the name of public policy? So my dear brother, and I'm saying this to Nigerians, this thing is happening in our eyes, and we should at least say enough is enough. These are pirates.
So how do we say enough is enough if we do not still go through the same institutions that have been that are recognized by even the Constitution?
I don't know the institutions. No, those institutions we need to change them. When we say enough is enough, we start by changing institutions. That will lead to changing policy. That will inform our the type of interactions we have with global institutions. We have seen examples of it. If Gaddafi has not embraced them, we will still be alive today. We can see example of changes in what is it called with Traore, a country that is, we can say barren land. Today it is rejuvenating. We can see examples even in places like Cuba, despite all the years, we are talking of almost 4, 5, or 6 decades of American blockade. Cuba exports expertise. Not just expertise, they support people who are seeking for freedom globally. We can see the example of even China. China was a barrier. You know where China is today. So the point is that of course we need to start locally and then we'll go globally. We need to change the paradigm. We need to change our politics. We need to change the same elements who parade themselves from one party to the other. From 1999, you can see some of them have been in almost all the parties in power. And what has been the result? Failure, abysmal failure. Yesterday, You saw this thing, the topic of your discourse.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And you can see, is that not a shame that year in, year out, I mean, people's faith and trust in government keeps decreasing. Most people have seen it now, and it's not accidental. Because first, governance has failed. The primary purpose is welfare and security of the people. Who cares about the welfare of any Nigerian? Who cares about their security?
Mr. President said he cares because in one of his speeches he had said he knows the suffering, he feels the pain, and that he's doing all he can, and that we should give him some patience, and that some of these reforms, especially the economic reforms, will take a while, so a little bit more patience and perseverance, and we'll get there. And quite a number of persons have also thrown support behind Mr. President, saying, oh, give him a little time.
Those who are benefiting from status quo will naturally support. But from the reports that was released by the African Polling Institute yesterday,
yes,
you can see their report card. It's about almost close to 80% of your citizens say they don't trust their government. They don't have faith in all the institutions from from the presidency to the parliament to the judiciary inside the country. We simply don't have a control. It's just only deceiving ourselves. And if they are not careful, my prayer is not that Nigeria will include, because that would be a major disaster for the whole of Africa and the world.
Right.
We need to do something urgently. For the first time, I'm in my mid-50s now. All my life, I've never had Nigerians crying. For the over 50 years I've lived there, that we've been in power, that we are hungry. Even in their so-called Lagos, when they visited here, people were, the videos are everywhere, even in power, we are hungry. Nigerians it has never gotten that bad. Between just over 2 years, look at how far the standard of life has depreciated. And you think the same sort of people who can bring any change? So the thing is, until we wait for 50 years before change will come. Directly or indirectly, these same sort of people have been in power now for about 10 years. They castigated the other people and said all the sweet things we need to hear. Now they have been in power for over 10 years. Because you are taking the first 8 years was years. Now they are in power now for more than over 2 years now. And you are saying we should wait till their kingdom come. Wait till people are being killed like chickens, right in their own houses. Is that what we are going to wait for? Is it about platitudes? When Nigerians are dying, they are getting fat. They are feeding fat, and you say we should wait. Wait for what? Till when?
But
yeah.
Don't you think that where we are today and why some of these reforms that may have good intents for the masses is not really getting to the grassroots or to the vulnerable Nigerians is because we have made ourselves too dependent in collecting favors and aids from the IMF and the World Bank. Do you think that will change anytime soon? Just recently, we saw how Nigeria had paid its debts. Some debts, we paid it, and there was some celebration. But then to what cost? To what cost?
We are too blessed to become, what is it called, a debtor to IMF World Bank. Do you know the hemorrhage this country is suffering? The last time it was exposed, the quantum of oil that was being stolen. Has anybody told you about the quantum of gold that is being stolen? Both from the west, from the north, and other resources that have been stolen. Are we stealing them? Is it me? Is it not the same political elite? Are they not part of the racket? If you go to Dubai, the chances that the gold you buy in Dubai is the gold that came from Nigeria. And you are telling me the government, because the first thing is, the first beauty of government is to the ability to secure your territorial integrity in your own country. People are paying the resources that is spent for the development of your country. That's siphoning oil, stealing gold, and other minerals that we don't even, that we may not know right now. Just yesterday I was seeing a video where the chances are that China will be now exporting egusi to Nigeria. And it is not accidental. Our go to farm. Look at the cost of average foodstuff. Look at the cost of that. Just tell me what has happened in just 2 years. It's been bad before. I don't say it was not bad, but this is a disaster. We're not in the stage of disaster. And it's painful because look at the same people who made all the promises in the world. It's to talk us into this bank. So where we are. And they have been there now for 10 years now. And see where we are. So my dear brother,
so what is the way forward then? What is the way forward? How do we go around and about or through this and break through the shackle?
Yes. We need to consign to the dustbin of history all those who have brought us to where we are, which means the still political class. That's why I'm appealing to the Nigerian people. Let us look at alternatives. And alternatives are there. But because they have made poverty a state policy, when the time comes to make change, they will give our people some palliatives. Maybe in form of 10,000 for votes. And for a man who is hungry, 10,000 is a lot of money. Even there is a saying when you were in Lagos, people go sebe, that is votes and cook a pot of soup. That's how they have debased our humanity. That's how they have debased our humanity. But we need to rise above that current state of anomy and say enough is enough. As Nigerian people, we must get organized and say we want an alternative to the same failed people. Whether you say you are doing whether convergence or coalition or whatever name, is it not the same people? Tell me one face who has not been there from 1999 to date. They keep, what is it called? Mutating. I think Nigerian people will need to look for alternative. We must, in fact, I don't say don't collect their money because you may need it, but do and vote them out. We need to consign them to the dustbin of history. We have tried their first 11, their second 11, we have even tried their third 11. What have they delivered? There's no team with a sensible coach or even a sensible supporter team that will have a team that is performing woefully. You try your first 11, second, third 11. It's like you start the whole team now. And going to put a new set of boys, even from your villages. That's really there right now. We need a paradigm shift. These people have nothing to offer. Their first 11, second 11, third 11 from 1990 to date. What have they delivered? Misery, poverty.
All right, so should we do you think it will be wise, because there are two arguments here. One of such arguments is about the fact that Nigeria is being a puppet to these international financial institutions. And another argument is about the fact that Nigeria is a sovereign decision-making country, that these institutions can only suggest. It now behoves on us to either take or debunk what they say and create reforms that is ingenious or indigenous to us as a people that will work for us. Where is your argument basically? Are we puppets, or are we just doing this to ourselves unaided by any international influence?
We are not doing this to ourselves. Those who are the ends of affairs are puppets, and you have been the concept puppet. I just told you, the FBI, CIA said our number one man is their own asset, and therefore they cannot release that information. So you expect them to be with their dictates. This is public information. I'm not saying something secret. The FBI said it to an American court that our number one man is their own, what is it called, asset, and therefore they can't disclose certain information about him. And you are trying to now go against them, so they will disclose that same information, and they will bring him down. My brother, let's be honest with ourselves. The facts are there. The news, when in the information age, you can search anything. Tell me one of them. I told you about the ministers under Obasanjo. They were all nominated by World Bank, IMF. Those some of our people are celebrating. Don't you know where they came from? And you expect them to go against the dictate of those who nominated them to become ministers? Or do you expect the man that accepted that the nomination to now go against them? That is not possible. So Nigeria is a puppet state. And we're a puppet state simply because those who lead us are puppets of the West, of imperialism.
All right. All right. Thank you, far too kind. We will take this time out, go on a recess. We'll come back. We'll get to hear from family members. And should we have the time, we'll get back with you. But you've said pretty much the most on this conversation this morning. But appreciate We'll get back with you in a short bit.
Thank you.
Right. Well, you already heard it. We are already in a state of puppetry. It does seem as the state is in a state of puppetry, the country that is. But we'll come back. I will get to hear from you. What do you think about this? Can we really break free? Can we indeed go above and beyond the expectations that the international community have of us? Can we go above and beyond the expectations that Nigerians in diaspora have about us? Can we also go beyond our expectation, breaking the limits that hold us down with the shackles that keeps us at a spot, in ensuring that indeed we can tell ourselves that the future is secure, that we can tell ourselves that those who really need, economic upliftment will get this upliftment in no distant time. Stay with me.
While others are blabbing, total dance. Let's fill you in with pure entertainment. Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
This is Nigeria, where every new day brings a fresh chance to dream bigger, push harder, and live confidently. But true confidence is more than hope. It's knowing that no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you're protected, empowered, and ready for the journey ahead. At Sanlam Alliance, we believe confidence isn't just for a few, it's the right of everyone. That's why we have come together, uniting the strength of a Pan-African giant and a global leader to give you the financial protection and solutions you need to succeed. Because when we come together, we protect more, we achieve more, and we all rise together. Sanlam and Alliance is now Sanlam Alliance. Sanlam Alliance. Live with confidence.
Oh yeah, now logistics. Oh yeah, now logistics. 1, 2, 3. You want order food? Oh yeah, now. Straight to your doorstep. We dey come. One pick up something. Oh yeah, now. Or drop off something. We dey come. Maybe you need help for shopping. Oh yeah, now. Direct from your favorite. We dey come. You want order your cooking gas. Oh yeah, now. Direct to your doorstep. We dey come. We dey run massive discount. Oh yeah, now. Just place your order now. We dey come. We dey run free delivery when you order. Oh yeah now.
Hurry now and download Oya Now app on the Google Play Store or Apple Store. You can also visit us at www.oyanow.ng or call us on 080-8410-1000 or 081-2355-4000. We are available in Lagos and Abuja. Oya Now with the come.
Think Counseling Network in collaboration with Reeds Empire Human Development Limited and partners bring to you the Game Changer Conference, where entrepreneurs, leaders, and youth gather for one powerful purpose. Discover how to shift your thinking, redefine your patterns, and elevate your influence. Whether you are employed, unemployed, leading policies, or building empires. Date: Tuesday, July 8, 2025. Venue: Novera Central Mall, Use Zone 5 Hall, Abuja. Time: 11 a.m. Seats are limited. Your next level depends on this decision. Don't mix it. For more information, call 080-3869-8516. 080-3869-8516. Game Changer Conference 2025. Change your pattern, change your life.
Things they happen for our community, eh?
Now I can recoup back all the money I have spent on this annoying family.
Yeah, That woman own don't finish.
My dear, let's go and greet them, okay?
Hey! Join Media Coalition and Awareness to hold trafficking, MICAT, on I Wish I Knew radio drama and program every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Join us to kick human trafficking out of our society. I Wish I Knew radio drama and program is brought to you by MICAT and funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark.
I like how the mathematics teacher dey teach us. Even sef, she know dey 2 bits and she know dey give us too much homework. See, me, I just dey think of how to jack when I finish school. Cause my papa don talk say he no get money to send me go university. When Nel Fund dey there, now waiting.
Yes, so Nel Fund na special loan from Tinubu government to help Nigeria students pursue them university education without wahala. Them go come later they pay back small when them don't get job. Apart that one, Tinubu government also get credit score and many other empowerment programs for Nigerian youths to give them kampe future. So therefore, Nigerian youths make una chill, no shaking. Hope don't renew, and even though we never reach where we dey go, Nigeria don't dey overcoming challenges small and prosperity don't dey show face. We don't dey road to national greatness. Make una support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to make Nigeria work. Nigeria, we don't dey waka the correct road.
Now State House, Department of Media and Publicity Power Am.
Eagles 102.3.
Thing with us still looking at the discuss this morning. IMF saying Nigeria's economic reforms not benefiting the masses as it stands. And a personal story from Aisha, who's a 30-year-old mother of 3 who's living in Lagos and struggling to make ends meet. She says despite the government's economic reforms, she finds it increasingly difficult to afford basic necessities like food and healthcare. I mean, Aisha's story is quite unique. Millions of Nigerians are facing similar challenges, and the IMF report is coming to highlight some of these needs for targeted support to vulnerable populations like Aisha. But then, have we really seen all of these come to bear when we look at the fact that sometime in April of 2025, the IMF had forecasted Nigeria's GDP growth rate to be 3%, which was later upgraded to 3.4% in July of 2024. Is our economic reforms only affecting external economy when it comes to how we are being perceived? Our, forex and all of that, foreign reserves, is that where it is? When it's supposed to be building matters that concern local production, that concern, giving some sort of palliatives that would help local businesses to grow and thrive. But then we will indeed get to hear from you. What will be your thoughts about this? Are we really a puppet country to some of these international financial institutions? Can we break free at any point? Can we indeed rub minds with ourselves to saying that, hey, it's time for us to look into national cohesion and looking into the economy, so to speak, and deriving a formula that only works for us? Can we indeed stem out the corruption and the bureaucracy that is going on in the processes that should allow for some of these reforms to get to the masses? Do we even have a reform if the reform is not connected and targeted to the masses themselves? If the vulnerable Nigerians are indeed suffering and going through a certain circumstantial pain that could have been averted should these reforms and monies that we keep borrowing and loans that we keep getting from these international institutions get to them at the right time and at the right space? Well, what can we say? 0907-353-0044 is that number. But I see your message via the WhatsApp portal. Let's go take this one very quickly. I see you, James. James all the way from Sulejai saying, good morning to the amiable guest. It says the president yesterday claimed to have saved 2.5 billion naira in 2 years from the subsidy removal and floating the naira as an achievement nonsense. But UD, within the same period, the economy lost over $200 billion. In what world or universe does this make any economic sense? Despite claiming to have stabilized the currency market, the government has spent about $4.7 billion in the first half of this year alone to defend the naira. I hope we all know that when the government says defend the naira, it means subsidize the rates. The major reason we have rulers who will always jump to implement IMF and World Bank policies is because most of them are at the mercy of these Western financial giants. They are seeking both Western validation and Western funding. These set of leaders are only interested in whatever puts them on the good books of these Western imperialists and gives them access to more loans and fundings. And these imperialists know the kind of leaders we produce, and that's why they'll always support the least qualified candidates that will always do their bidding. All right, thank you, James. Samuel, all the way from Kuje now, standing on existing protocol. Samuel is saying, of a truth, I never liked IMF and World Bank because their policies are anti-developing countries. It is modern-day slavery, and they never mean well for developing countries at all. Please, President, tell us to be patient with him. My question is, for how long? Is it until we are all dead that he will know that the policies are not pleasant to the masses? Have a great day to you, UD, and your guest. Well, I see this one on here, and this one is coming from Joseph from Jai. He says, good morning, Eagles FM. From day one, Nigerian government is not competent for good business. Right from day one, Nigerian government keeps on selling what they build before instead of building a new one. Okay, you will notice that each government that comes to power is now trial and error government. All right, Joseph, right there, appreciate. Well, the call's coming through now, but I can't take this one here. But thank you, Far Too Kind. 10 o'clock will be time for us to get into the general open banter. We hope that we will be able to indeed come off this out of the woods on this one and indeed make things right, because if a certain reform is not elevating the lives of the vulnerable society or the target population, what then? A wise leadership, a wise financial management institution would want to go back to the drawing board and see how they can indeed rid ourselves of those gaps that might indeed hold us back, such that we are not able to initiate these reforms and let them get to the lives of the masses of our country. Tekambi Hundu right there, putting it out there that the the noise from the fuel subsidy, in the middle of these reforms, the poor are worst. Can't eat, can't rent is going high. Transportation, another issue. Some workers spending 85% of their salaries on transportation, drugs, and that are very expensive for sick people. Tech and be right there. I mean, this is exactly what we are saying, and these are the vulnerable of the society. Well, thank you to you, Comrade Olojo, for joining the discourse. So sorry can't get back to you, but then you've spoken comprehensive wisdom, and I'm trusting that the special advisors to the government who are listening now will indeed do the due diligence and get this message and word back to our leaders.
No AC? No problem. We're cooling you down with the freshest hits.
Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Africa. Do you want to work in the healthcare sector? Do you want to be a trained